Well, out and about we are on the bike again, and I'm hoping all of the cameras and the sound and everything is synchronized and working. Today, of course, it was time to get out and about in a bit more countryside kind of situation than we were in my last video when I was traipsing through Sheffield and showing you nothing but the back of slowly moving vehicles. The weather is really good over here actually. When I set off from Huddersfield, there's a bit of rain and I was thinking, oh, is it going to be a wet day? But so far so good over here in the east. Going out towards the east coast now, and not sure where the GPS is taking me actually, but I'm going to be heading out towards Scarborough, and we'll do a bit of a video for you guys to watch along and see what's going on out here. Quite a lot of bikes out today. It is a pretty good sort of biking day. Of course, it's, what is it now? It's the 1st of July 2023. So it is a Saturday. It is a sort of a biking day. I guess Sunday. Is Sunday still the most popular biking day? Don't know. I guess it all depends on the weather each weekend, doesn't it? But yeah, so hopefully there's not too much. I don't think there's any wind on the mic at the minute. That screen is performing really well on this KTM. It does a good job. I have set all the cameras up. Well, I'll say all the cameras, both that camera and the one on the helmet. I've done the sound differently. So the way I've been using the previously using the DJI wireless mic is to have the little transmitter box in the helmet here and have it transmitting to the receiver which I'd plugged into one of the cameras. And the trouble with that was that I have been getting a lot of distortion and kind of interference and static and stuff when after a while the vibration of either the bike if it's on the camera there, or just the wind hitting the camera and the big sort of sticky out receiver thing on the side of the camera was getting moved about and eventually must work its way loose and therefore stop doing its job. So this time what I've done, and I did this yesterday as well when I was or did the other day when I did the other video going through Sheffield, was I just switched the little transmitter box, microphone box in the helmet to record. Now what this does is, the good thing about it is it still records directly as well within that little microphone unit. So good thing about that is even if the transmitter bit doesn't work, you still end up with the sound getting recorded, and I've actually found that that is way more reliable. So touch, well, there is no wood here to touch, but is there any wood that I can pass? No. Fingers crossed, we'll do that. Fingers crossed it works today. So when I was out on this bike last, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before, and I did the video, put it up on YouTube. I had the bracket on the XT2 sat-nav, which was the one from KTM, one of their power parts accessories. It cost about 70 quid, I think, just a few pence short of 70 quid, 70 pounds. And that I didn't rate at all really. It was a bit cheap, a bit kind of flimsy, and the GPS unit is a fairly big one, this XT2, so it was just kind of cocked to one side and it looked a bit like there was something not quite right all the time. And so I've got delivery yesterday of the Touratech. Don't know if you can really see it there. It's like a sort of it's a metal backplate that fastens in behind the LCD screen, and it's nice and secure, and it bolts that thing on perfectly. So it's perfectly aligned, it's solid as hell, and it's not wobbling at all. It's not wobbling any more than the rest of the bike is vibrating as, you know, usual when you're on a bike, which is fantastic. It really makes a huge difference to not be thinking all the time, is that GPS going to come flying off when you're going down the road. So yeah, we're just on our way now out towards I think Scarborough, Bridlington, Scarborough, one of the two, maybe both. And just having a nice little gentle saunter over there, because it is a little bit breezy. Sometimes there's a gust of wind when you're riding along, and you certainly do feel it. It's not too bad on this KTM, even though today I've got all the panniers and the back box on, put all the camera gear in there and stuff to come out and do a little video. Because it is such a beautiful day out there. Oh, out here even. I don't know why I said out there, as if I'm in a car. Yeah, there's some fabulous views around here. And the good thing with this area is it's fairly level compared to where I live. I tend to live in quite a hilly part, and you get certain views at certain times particularly when you're higher up in the hills. But then out here you tend to, it's a sort of flatter place, so you do tend to get a nicer kind of distance of a view than you do where I am. So KTM 1290 Adventure S still going strong. What have I done? 856 miles on it so far. No problems with the running of it. At the minute, because I've got the boxes on, I've got the preload on the suspension, I think at 40%, and it's all done through the system here with the tech pack or whatever it is. I don't know if that's part of the tech pack, but you just control it all through there. And running sweetly at the minute. A lot better since the first service. Clearly they may do something in the first service that, as I think I mentioned in my other video, that might just change somehow, something in the setup, the software, whatever it is, but seems to run a lot nicer since then. So at the minute I've just got it in one of the standard sort of, I think it's auto and street mode, and that's pretty so far that's pretty much all I've done. It's got all of these rally modes where you can change various things and whatever, but I haven't yet even thought about what all that is. Just kind of a point and shoot situation for me on this bike at the minute. Just got on it, set roughly what it needs to be, adjusted the mirrors, and off I go. I think the only thing I might consider doing at some point is adjusting the acro slip-on exhaust. I know some people who have got this bike have done some work to allow the baffles to be removed or put in, just to get a different sound profile, and really the choice of doing that. I mean, on the Multistrada I've got a baffle that can be removed, and to be honest I don't need to remove it because it sounds really good as it is with the baffle in. But with this one it is fairly quiet to say it's got an acro can on it, and you can remove the baffles. They're designed to be removed because they've got two bolts in, but the carbon end cap that goes on the can is all riveted in, and there are no holes through that carbon end cap to be able to get access to the bolts. So from what I understand, the only way to do it is by taking all of the rivets out, drilling all of the rivets out, and then getting inside. I think there might be a couple of spot welds on the bolt heads as well, so you've got to sort of disc away those welds, and then that leaves you with the ability to remove those 2 bolts. And when you re-rivet the carbon end cap back on, you first have to drill 2 holes through it so that you can access those bolts to remove the baffles in the future. So it is a bit of a faff. It's not quite as simple as many of these acros that you can just sort of right, are we gonna sorry, I'm just bearing in mind here I'm going to be turning left towards Scarborough, not really following what the GPS is saying, and I'm not switched on the comms in my helmet yet. Forgot to do that, so I can't hear it nagging at me either. A little bit of power. Now I think as well with this DJI mic in the helmet, you hear very little of the sound. Even on the multi, you do hear it on the multi Strada because that exhaust is a little bit more present. But on this one, I don't think you hear a lot of the exhaust at all, and it has got an exhaust sound. It's just a little bit quiet in comparison, certainly in comparison to the multi-strada. So we're going to be going left at this roundabout. So we'll do that just now. Using the quick shifter into 5th. I have got something flapping at the side here. I hope it isn't interfering with the camera. I know the wind is certainly blowing my head about a bit, which is probably interfering, and the bike now as well. It is a bit blustery today. Give these agricultural... Oh shit, I don't know if you could see that on camera, but I'm going to slow it down a bit because the wind is certainly grabbing a little bit every now and then with this these gusts. You can possibly see it in the trees moving. A bit more gusty than I thought it was going to be. So I'll take it steady. I don't want to be doing corrections at high speed. Probably bikes with no boxes on are not getting as much of this wind buffeting as I am. I'm just hoping the camera's safe there on the helmet with some of these gusts of wind. They're really quite strong actually. Just kind of focusing a little bit more than I normally would, just to make sure, particularly when vehicles are coming in the opposite direction, that the bike is staying in my lane, because particularly that gust of wind that I got just a few minutes back there kind of woke me up a little bit. Yeah, there's some pretty gusty, strong winds now. I think it might be getting worse actually as I approach the coast. And the thing is with these, we talked earlier about the open and wide views of having this kind of level sort of land, but of course the downside of that as well is if it is a very windy day as it is today, then there's nothing to stop that wind, to break that wind, so you are getting to feel it quite significantly. I don't know if that's showing in the camera, but my head is all over the place at the minute. It'd be brilliant here. If it weren't for the wind, I could be having a whale of a time. Look at that field on the left there. If you can see that, the wind blowing across that field kind of gives you a bit of a view as to how breezy it is. Oh yes. If I can, I wonder if I've got I think I've got the secondary lights on. Always handy. But it's 50 here anyway, which is probably wise. So I'll just take it nice and steady. Not sure what the direction of the wind is, but it sort of feels like it's coming from the left and I'm kind of going easterly, so I'm guessing it might be from the north, but it just might be sort of a turbulent wind that doesn't have a consistent direction as well, which can sometimes also be confusing. Get down here in the valley a little bit and maybe it'll be less powerful. It is a nice road, is this, actually, coming in through can't remember which little area we do come in through, but so we come into a little villagey area here, so I just slowed it down. Langtoft. Langtoft. We want to be going left at this roundabout. Take it nice and steady through the little quaint little village here. There's some pretty nice places in East Yorkshire, actually. Some quite expensive areas to live in as well. I mean, you're in some of these areas, I think, I might be wrong, but I think some of the prices around here are almost as expensive as they are in some of the places, maybe not some of the most exclusive places in the south, but some of the places down there. And the kind of oldie worldiness of them is very similar to what you get in the home counties. It's almost like a sort of a little style of the way the architecture flows through as a little, almost like this is how a village is going to be. And then often on the edges you get these big mansion houses where the old oi polloi would live and give their orders from. Nice here to have a bit of a windbreak with this hedge, but as soon as it disappears as we get to the crest of this hill, I think we'll be back in the strong, blustery, gusty wind again. It's just a little bit off-putting, actually. I mean, I've been riding bikes for years, and the one thing that probably is the one thing I don't like most of all of the weather is the strong winds. I think it's one of the hardest things to just gauge right. You know, you kind of don't have much control over it. It's not like you can prepare for it, because suddenly you get a gust of wind and the only thing you can do is react, and you try and remain as relaxed as you can on the bars, of course, but sometimes if you don't react quickly enough, you're on the other side of the road before you know it, and we don't want that. So yeah, yesterday the weather forecast was a little bit up and down, so I didn't get out on the bike. So I was going to originally, yesterday come out on the KTM. Probably if I go out tomorrow on the Sunday, I'll go on the multi-strada just to keep mixing it up a little bit. But it did give me time to get this Touratech thing fitted to the bike. That wasn't such... oof, wow. The wind again. That wasn't such a difficult job to do, really. So, let me just double check. We are still half an hour away from Scarborough. And I am not convinced that I'm really enjoying this run with these unpredictable strong wind gusts, so I might turn around actually and head back. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to turn around and head back. I don't feel quite right because I've got a car right up the back of because I'm taking it steady here, just and only because of this bloody wind. But if I have to slow down suddenly or something, I've got this car right up well, he's not too bad now, he's pulled back a little bit. North Yorkshire now. He's going to get round me. Why doesn't he just get round me instead of keep coming right up to the back of me? Didn't think we got a nod from him. Foxholes! A nod from him. So yes, I think what we will do is have a little stop, a turn around somewhere, bit of a drink of water. If there's a fuel station, actually I might get some little snacks. Well, it is crazy windy today, and I don't know if you can tell how windy it is, but sort of tree over there might give you a bit of an idea just how windy it is, and it's definitely something I'm feeling on this bike today. Now, when I was on the R1200 RT, that was definitely a very, very difficult bike to control in the very strong wind, in my experience. On a couple of occasions, that bike was kind of drifted over the moors from one lane towards oncoming traffic, and it used to put me off that bike. Also, going over the Humber Bridge one day, it was pretty windy, and that wasn't comfortable, but just even holding this little GoPro here in my fingers now is, I can feel the wind blowing on this, so I'm just going to stabilise it with the other hand as well. But yes, it is a very, very windy day. I don't know what the view over there is like, but it looks like there's a pretty incredible view over that hedge there. Well, one of the cameras is switched off, so thanks for watching, and I'll disappear now and start heading home. Take care of yourselves, and bye for now.